and now it's time to make it all pay.
Get it out on the water. If not, I could be facing financial ruin. No pressure, lots of cobble, lots of heavy material. If she can handle this, I know I built her right.
Shawn Pomrenke just launched a giant gold dredge that cost $800,000, and it looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. After all the talk and delays, this huge machine is finally ready to tear through the ocean floor for gold. But is this monster dredge going to strike it rich or break everything apart? What happened made the Coast Guard arrest Shawn immediately? Let's be honest, things were looking shaky. Everyone's been eyeing Myrtle Irene like it was on life support, and Shawn's recent mining efforts haven't exactly been smooth sailing. There were cracks, literally and figuratively. One big issue? The gap between the crown and the deck. That kind of mess doesn't just fix itself, and it sure doesn't scream, ready to haul gold. But Shawn didn't flinch. He grabbed his tools, ignored the doubt, and welded the thing himself. No big crew, no fancy backup, just one guy and a whole lot of pressure. Before we dive deeper, it's clear that what Shawn found beneath the dredge was far more serious than anyone thought. And this won't be the last thing that will leave you stunned. This wasn't just about fixing a machine, it was about saving himself from a financial nosedive. If this dredge flopped, Shawn wasn't just out of luck, he was out of cash. Every single dollar, every sleepless night, every bite of pride was riding on this monster, working like a dream. And when the punch plate was finally in place and the weld stopped sparking, it was go time. The test run? Rough. The thing shook like it had the chills. But second try? Smooth. A whole different tune. Now we're talking. Both shakers fired up just right. The new sluice box? Built from scratch. And it wasn't some half-baked upgrade. It was gigantic, over the top, and risky as hell. But the plan was simple. Catch more gold, catch it faster, and prove every critic wrong. Shawn didn't just want this thing to work, he needed it to work. Because if this piece of the system failed, the whole plan went belly up. So they tested the water, literally. All systems go. The wash plant ran like it meant business. And when the gravel hit the box, it was like fireworks. Everything held, everything flowed, and for the first time in a long time, Shawn could breathe. But hold on. That was just the beginning. Now came the real challenge, taking the Myrtle Irene, revamped and revved up, into the open water. This wasn't some lazy cruise, this was the Bering Sea, where everything that can go wrong usually does. Still, Shawn and the crew moved out, lifting anchors and sliding the behemoth into the deep. It looked good, sure, but looks don't mean much when you're chasing gold with your entire life on the line. Instead of rushing to the prime spots, Shawn played it smart. He aimed for a cobble field close to town. Not exactly the jackpot, but perfect to stress test the system. He wanted to know before he risked everything at Tomcod if this monster machine was up for the fight. The first dig? Heavy stuff. Cobble and sand, rough on the system, but that's exactly what he needed. If the dredge could handle that without breaking a sweat, then maybe, just maybe, all that money didn't go straight down the drain. Slud's down, water blasting, buckets flying. This was it. All year of prep, all the welding, all the fine-tuning came down to this first real bite. The gravel started pumping like magic. No stalls, no blowouts, no hiccups. It was running like it actually knew how valuable it was. And then came the moment Shawn had been waiting for. Full performance check. Everything held up. Cody tossed in the next few buckets and the team watched like hawks. Still no issues, still no disasters, just clean, smooth operation. Time to move. With everything working, there was only one thing left to do: head to the Tomcod claim. That's where the real gold sits. That's where the big boys dig. And that's where Shawn would either strike it rich or fall flat on his face. But based on what just happened, odds were finally shifting in his favor. Not many people bet this big on one shot, but Shawn did. And he didn't just bet, he built the entire damn table he was rolling dice on. That kind of guts can either make you a legend or a cautionary tale. And with the Myrtle Irene humming like a beast, he might just pull it off. He fired up the system again, heading toward deeper water, chasing pay dirt. And for once, nothing felt like it was about to break. The dredge moved with purpose. Every motor, every cable, every shaker ran like a dream. Gold started to show up. Not a ton, not yet, but enough to know this wasn't a waste. There was something different in Shawn's eyes now. Less stress, more grit, like a guy who'd finally stopped sinking and started swimming. But that doesn't mean he's in the clear. The ocean doesn't care how much you spent or how hard you worked. It breaks what it wants, whenever it wants, and the next wave could still ruin everything. But at least now, Shawn has something real to fight with. This dredge isn't just some shiny toy, it's a war machine. And it just might be the thing that turns Shawn Pomrenke from a struggling dreamer into a guy who actually pulls it off. Shawn fixed his dredge, but now let's see how the others are doing out there in the freezing water. Diving for gold while tempers explode. Let's talk about the wild world of gold dredging in Nome, Alaska. Now, if you're thinking this is some relaxing job by the sea, guess again. This is back-breaking, nerve-wracking, cold as ice work. And these folks aren't just dipping their toes in the water. They're diving deep into freezing sea floors, hoping to suck up chunks of gold while the ocean tries to swallow them whole. And the show Gold Divers doesn't try to sugarcoat it, it lays it all out in the open, from broken machines to broken tempers. Take Vernon Adkisson's crew. First day of the season, big hopes, bigger problems. They're all set to dive, but then boom, the bickering starts. Everyone suddenly has something to say and nobody's listening. Tempers fly faster than gold flakes. And let's be real, when your job means sinking into dark, cold water with only air hoses and luck keeping you alive, things are going to get tense. But somehow, after all the yelling, they pull it together. Why? Because if they don't, they get nothing. No gold, no pay, just cold. Now here comes Zeke Tenhoff, strolling back into a place that gave him nothing but trouble before. Why go back? Well, sometimes people get hooked on the idea of beating the odds. Zeke isn't just there to dig gold, he's digging up memories, regrets, maybe even ghosts. But he's not crying about it. He wants a win this time, and he thinks he's got a better plan. Whether that works or not, who knows? But it shows just how stubborn and gritty these miners really are. Then there's Chris McCulley. This guy decides, hey, who needs a crew anyway? Winter's here, everyone's gone, and he figures he can do it solo. One man against icy water, against the cold, against common sense. No backup, no one watching the lines, just him. You can practically feel the frostbite creeping in through the screen. The guy's got guts, sure, but maybe not enough brains. Still, you can't deny the guy's drive. He's ready to freeze for a shot at gold. Next up, Shawn Pomrenke. This guy smells opportunity like a shark smells blood. A mining claim opens up, and before you can blink, he's throwing money and machines at it. Risky? Yeah, worth it? Maybe. But Shawn doesn't do things small. He goes all in every time. He knows the game and he plays it hard. Some call it smart. Others might call it reckless. But either way, it keeps things interesting. Emily Riddell has her own mess to clean up. She's one of the few women running the show out there, and her gear decides to break down right when she needs it most. Instead of crying about it or calling it quits, she rolls up her sleeves and gets greasy. Wrenches, wires, stress, and sweat. Her team's scrambling, trying to fix stuff while the clock ticks and the season slips away. But Emily keeps it together barely. This isn't just about mining anymore. It's about proving she belongs. While some are still fighting the cold and broken gear, others are trying new machines that could help or make things worse. Chris Kelly thinks he's cracked the code. He bets big on new tools, shiny tech that promises to boost the haul. But machines don't run themselves. They break, they glitch, they confuse the crew. Now instead of mining, everyone's learning to babysit machines. At first, it's chaos, but slowly they get the hang of it. It's a gamble, but maybe it pays off. Shows you how fast things change out there. One day you're digging with buckets, the next you're programming robots. Now let's not forget what nature throws at these folks. This isn't a peaceful beach picnic. Storms roll in out of nowhere. The sea goes from calm to angry in minutes. Ice blocks shift like moving walls. One wrong step and your gear's at the bottom of the sea. Or worse, you are. The weather doesn't care about your schedule or your bills. You either deal with it or you're done. Living in tight spaces, stuck on boats with the same people for days, things get weird. Fights happen, sometimes over gold, sometimes over nothing. When you're cold, wet, and tired, patience wears thin. A dirty sock can spark an argument, but teamwork matters. Without it, the dredge doesn't move, the gold doesn't flow, and the dream dies. Still, there are moments when they all laugh, share food, or cheer a good haul. That stuff matters too. Money. Let's talk about money. Every hour out there burns cash. Fuel, food, parts, repairs, it all costs. These miners aren't out there just for fun. If they don't bring up enough gold, they go home broke. Some of them take loans. Some bet everything they have. It's not just digging, it's gambling with your life and your future. One bad week and it all falls apart. Back home, these miners are missing birthdays, weddings, real life. They're chasing gold while their families wonder when they'll be back. The job eats at their bodies, messes with their heads, but they keep going because maybe, just maybe, the next dive brings a payday big enough to make it all worth it. And sure, tech helps. New gadgets, fancy dredges, smart screens. They all make things smoother, faster, maybe safer. But only if you know how to use them. One slip and your new toy becomes a sinking weight. The show doesn't hide that either. It's not just what you have, it's what you can do with it. Rules? Oh, there are plenty. Permits, claims, inspections. If you don't follow them, you're done. The red tape is real and the fines hurt. It adds another layer of stress to an already insane job. But breaking the rules isn't an option. Not unless you want to lose everything. This show isn't just about gold, it's about grit, chaos, and people hanging on by a thread. Every episode is packed with cold water, hot tempers, and desperate dives. These aren't polished folks in clean clothes. They're rough, loud, and driven. And that's what makes it worth watching. But none of this gold means much if the ocean itself is falling apart more each day. Gold rush meets climate crash. Let's get real about the Bering Sea. This stretch of ocean between Alaska and Russia used to be one of nature's toughest playgrounds. Cold, wild, packed with animals, and full of life. But now, it's falling apart. Not all at once, but piece by piece, and it's not looking good. First off, the ice. The Bering Sea is supposed to be icy in winter, that's its thing, but over the last few years, that ice is barely showing up. In 2025, the sea ice hit its lowest level ever, like the smallest it's been since anyone started counting. That means less than 5.5 million square miles of ice, which sounds like a lot, but it's not when you think about how big that area used to be. And it's not just about pretty pictures of frozen water either. That ice is home. For animals, for fish, for all sorts of things that depend on cold water. Without it, everything gets messed up. And guess what? It's not just some natural cycle. It's warmer, way warmer. There are more storms, and those wild cyclones mess up the way the ice forms. Instead of slowly freezing over, it's now melting faster than ever. The whole food chain takes a hit. Animals that count on ice can't survive the same way. Everything moves, struggles, or disappears. Now let's talk about crabs. Snow crabs, to be exact. Used to be everywhere in the Bering Sea, then came 2022. Bam! Gone. They dropped so fast that the fishery was shut down completely. No more crabbing. Imagine how that hit the folks who depend on catching them for a living. Whole communities lost money, jobs, and stability. What eliminated the crabs? Warmer water again. Changes in sea ice. They lost their home, their food, their rhythm, and it's not like they can just pack up and move, and it gets worse. Fishing itself is turning into a problem. Not just catching crabs, but all kinds of fish. People have been grabbing too many for too long, and now some species are just vanishing. The balance is wrecked. It's like pulling too many blocks out of a tower. You think it's fine until the whole thing crashes. We need rules. We need real ones, not just papers on desks. Quotas that people actually follow. If we don't slow down, there won't be anything left to catch. But hang on, the Bering Sea isn't just suffering from fishing, it's dirty too. And not just a little bit. There's trash, chemicals, plastics floating around. Some of this stuff doesn't break down, it just stays in the water. Fish eat it, birds eat it, people eat the fish. It's all connected. Toxins pile up, going from the tiniest critters all the way up the food chain. That means what ends up on your plate might not be as clean as you think. Fixing this isn't easy. Countries need to work together. Cleanup crews won't do it alone. The pollution keeps coming unless we shut off the tap. Oh, and you thought it was just about pollution? Think again. Now there are new species showing up where they never belonged. Warm water lets them in. And they don't play nice. They outfight the local guys. They take over space, food, everything. These invaders weren't part of the plan, but the melting ice opened the gates. Ships come in, dump ballast water, and boom, new species show up. Controlling this means watching ships more closely, checking what comes in and what goes out. And speaking of ships, let's talk traffic. Melting ice means new routes, more boats, more noise, more risk. If there's an oil spill, good luck cleaning it in freezing water. That stuff spreads fast, it sticks around, it eliminates. And even without spills, the noise alone messes with sea life. Whales can't talk to each other over the engine roars. Some get hit, others get confused and go the wrong way. What do? Make the rules stricter. Guide ships to safer paths, cut down the chaos. But here comes another surprise. The water's not just warm, it's toxic now too. Ever heard of harmful algal blooms? They're these gross green tides that show up when things heat up too much. They make toxins, they eliminate fish, they make people sick, and now they're hitting the Bering Sea more often than ever. You don't see it coming until it's too late. Monitoring them is the only way to act fast. Wait too long and the damage is done. Now zoom out a bit. The whole water system is changing. Temperature, salt levels, currents, nothing is stable. Even tiny shifts matter. They mess with where nutrients go. If the bottom of the food chain suffers, everything else does too. Productivity drops, fish disappear, birds fly elsewhere. Everything changes location, but people can't just follow that easily. Some towns depend on one kind of fish. What happens when that fish goes away? It's already happening. Fish are swimming farther north, looking for colder water. The Bering Sea map is redrawing itself, but not on paper, in real life. On fishing boats, in empty nets, in grocery stores, in people's paychecks. And this isn't just sad, it's dangerous. When an entire area shifts, it changes everything about how people live and survive there. Cultures tied to certain seasons, animals, traditions, all shaken. Let's not pretend it's hopeless, but let's not act like it's fine either. What's needed is a huge team effort, not just local fixes, big actions, global steps, cutting down on emissions to fight warming, setting real limits on fishing, getting serious about cleaning trash, checking every boat that shows up, watching the water, the animals, the temperature, not once, but always. Is Shawn's $800,000 gold dredge a smart step toward fortune, or a huge mistake that could sink him for good? Tell us what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.